So I'm heading back from that measure, which what's funny is I gave him the number and the quote and everything. He's like, "Man, you're pretty much the same price as he was a couple years ago." I was like, "Yeah, I had to adjust it a little bit. Like $700 more than I was 2 years ago." So, and the other people he had out there, I think they were quoting like over 30,000, and I came in at 11. So that'll be a nice little job. I'll walk away with about 5, maybe 6. So for 4 days worth of work, I'll take that all day. Plus something happened when I was on the job. There's been a lot of things happening. There was actually, let me back up. There was a wreck on the way out there, and which right after I cut off the last video, because I started getting into traffic. Well, there was a wreck there. 2 vans, a tanker truck, and a lady in an evening dress. Which there was no car, so I'm assuming she was in one of the vans. It just kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. So she was just sitting behind the van, and I'm like, that just wasn't expecting it. Not anything wrong with it, just wasn't expecting it. So, because most people don't wear evening dresses while in a van, you know. So, but yeah, on the job, I went around and measured up all the windows and got the list of everything I need, and I'm going to have to go quote a couple of windows just to see where everything's at. And then I walked out back to measure the windows outside in the back, because I'm going to have to open up a hole to make stock windows fit, and where someone else framed it down. And I fell in a hole. So right now I'm barefoot. My shoes are in the back. My socks are over here. But I went down about to my knee in some black mud. Yeah, so I'm not used to driving barefooted. Let's just put it that way. I got a friend of mine that he cannot drive a vehicle with shoes on. He only drives barefooted. For me, it's weird. I'm gripping the hold of the brake pedal with my toes. So. But yeah, I'm gonna go back. Also found out some news, which I need to talk with them before I can tell you guys, but I don't know if it's good news, bad news. I really don't know, but I'm actually going to go. Oh, wow, I got a hiccup. And I'm going to talk with them tonight. And but at least in my life, it's significant news. Plus, I want to make sure that it's not going to negatively affect some other people that I know. But I've heard rumors, but now I just got confirmation. So before I say what exactly is happening, I want to just make sure I'm allowed to talk about it before I just go out and blurt stuff. So I do respect people's privacy. But tomorrow, now that I have a lawnmower, I gotta get gas tonight. Whoa. You ever look at somebody? Now I know I'm not a pretty person, okay? But damn, I looked over, I don't know who it was or what it was, but it just gave me the shivers. Can I tell you all a story? So, there was this one time, back in Monroe's, and there was one girl, she don't work there anymore, but she knows the whole thing, and every time that I run into her, whenever I'm out and about and I see her, she always brings it up, because it is the funniest but possibly the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life. But I went on the dating app Plenty of Fish. I don't even know if it's still around or not, but it was a dating app. And I actually went through and entered in all the questions, did all the stuff, because they say if you answer all this, you will find the perfect match for you. And I did it. I did it honestly. I did the whole thing, and I really tried. And that creature, that thing from the abyss that appeared as a 98% match, is the reason I don't even date anymore. Because whatever that thing was, and I really could not tell you what species it was, and I'm not talking hyperbole. Like, I don't know what it was at all. So, but yeah, that 98% match basically ruined it for me to ever do any kind of online dating or anything online at all for anybody trying to match something up for me. So yeah, like, I wish I still had a picture, just because most people are like, oh, it couldn't have been that bad. But I think only 2 people saw it. I think Alex saw it, and this girl named Danya saw it. But it was quite possibly one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like, everybody's like, oh, it couldn't have been that bad. I swear to you, I'm not sure if it was human. Like, it did not look, and again, I know I am not one of the beautiful people in the world. Okay, there's a lot wrong with me. So, and yeah, that ruined me. So, I also saw a green dog once. Nobody ever believes me. One person believes me because she was with me, but I saw a green dog once too. Maybe it's a chupacabra, but that's over in Mexico. So most likely it was probably just some really messed up looking dog, because it didn't really look like a dog, but it was 100% green. So we're just saying that it was probably coming out of a swamp and had algae all over it, maybe. But I know it chased us down, and I got left. So I was the one, like, having to pedal and then lift my feet up to where the dog wasn't biting me, and then pedal real quick and lift my feet up. And so, but yeah, that person left me there to die with the green dog. Luckily I escaped. I got skills, but still, that was a little, I never really thought about it until right now that they left me there, that they took off. They had the fancy bike, I had the ghetto bike. So, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's happened to me. Weird shit. Weird. My mom, whenever I was a kid, we stayed in a haunted house where they were constantly opening and closing doors, and I think they opened the attic all the time. The ghost did. I personally do not believe in ghosts. The traditional sense of ghosts. I have not experienced anything that could not be explained. I do not believe in aliens. As far as the traditional little green man or the Greys or whatever, or even the lizard people. That being said, I do think there was a significant number of mutations throughout the world at different points in history. Like, I do think that at one point we had giants roaming this earth, because every single religion, all of them, talks about giants. I'll tell you a little secret. If you had, because there was a multitude of different types of giants. There were giants that were 7 feet tall. There were giants that were, like 10 to 12 feet tall. And then there was supposedly giants upward of like 25 feet tall. And there's statues of them in Egypt and in Peru and different areas where they have normal sized people, and then you have these giant monolithic statues, and people are always saying, well, they appear bigger that way because they had more power, and but everything else is like verbatim. I mean, it was like, it wasn't art, it was text, it was telling a story. So yeah, we're going down a road right now. Okay, it wasn't I expecting this. This is straight off the dome, but we're gonna talk about some shit now that I done got started. So I think that there was giant people, whether you want to call them gods, whatever we can call. I'm just gonna call them giants. Whatever if they're aliens, I don't know. But the Anunnaki knew about them. The I think it's Salmatians knew about it. The ancient Peruvians knew about it, like way back, because there was two sets of there was the Aztec and Incas, and then there was another, the Olmecs, which was even before them. So, but anyways, if there was, let's say, 15 foot tall or even 20 foot tall giants, and they were these giant beings, it'd make a lot more sense about putting the pyramids together. It'd almost be more like Lincoln Logs versus giant monolithic blocks. If there was, 4 or 5, true giants that were walking around back in the day. So, makes a lot more sense than aliens coming billions of miles from somewhere else, on spaceships and everything else, and aliens building them when we just had giants. And for whatever reason, whether it be a polar shift, whether it was Noah's, because God destroyed the world because of Sodom and Gomorrah, and Noah was a cleansing of the earth of all the bad, which it didn't do too good, but, we still have a lot of bad around us now. But, all this stuff is in religions and in a multitude of religions. The Native Americans talked about giants, the Incans, the Aztecs, the Olmecs, they all talked about giants. In fact, the only place that's kind of weird is in England. The Druids, which was the original people, they were kind of like a little bit after the Vikings, or around the same time as the Vikings, but before the Roman conquest of England. So England used to have a lot of Druids, and that's where the Knights of the Round Table and all the wizardry and everything else. But there, Ireland specifically, and over in New Zealand and on the east coast of Australia is the only two places where they talk about sprites and little people, and actually having races of dwarfs. And when I say dwarfs, I'm talking about not like a midget dwarf like we see today. And I know that's a bad word, but I don't give a shit. It specified a point. But I'm talking about like really, really small people, like 1 foot to 2 foot tall, and not being dwarfism as a genetic disorder, but actually as actual people. And they were kind of almost toward, I don't want to say elf, but they were more like a sprite or a fairy. And they were like bone white, blue eyes. I don't know if they flew. I didn't really research that much into it. But this is going back into like creation stories of certain religions. Like, and if you ever want to get something really wild, you should really look at the creation story of the Aborigines, because the Aborigines and the Hopi Indians were very similar on their creation stories. And if you study theology, you may find a very interesting connection between the Adam and Eve story, the Hopi Indians, and the Aborigines. So, and I have been doing a little bit of research on the Ethiopians, which they kind of hit my radar recently. So I'm looking at the Ethiopians, the ancestors of they weren't always Ethiopians, but that was a country that was formed. They used to be a lot older race. So before they got converted to Christianity. I think that area is where the Zulu Nation, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is the area where the Zulu Nation reigned, or maybe it was central near Zaire, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, there were giants. They maybe built the pyramids. It wasn't aliens. So yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I had to run from a green dog, and I fell in a hole. So hope you enjoyed it. This is some of the stuff that just comes out of my head, and I'm going to put it out in the world. And if you sat the whole way through, type in WTF, because that's kind of where I'm at right now. WTF. And if you don't know what that means, look it up. Peace, love, money. It's a fucking giants. I'm out.